South Korean Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-wha starts her three-day visit to China on Tuesday. It is her first visit to China since taking the job. Kang is expected to hold talks with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang on Wednesday. Both sides are expected to discuss the DPRK nuclear issue as well as the situation on the Korean Peninsula. For the very latest on this, let's go live to our correspondent Jack Barton in Seoul. Jack, what does the South Korean Foreign Minister wish to accomplish on this trip to China?
Well, the primary role of this trip is to pave the way for a visit next month to Beijing by President Moon Jae-in, who will meet with China's leader Xi Jinping. But Kang Kyung-wha will have plenty to discuss with Wang Yi when she meets with him on Wednesday in Beijing. She has been pivotal in essentially diffusing the row between Beijing and Seoul over the THAAD anti-missile system, which South Korea says it wants to protect the country against a potential DPRK missile attack, but which, of course, Beijing worries may spy, or the radar of that system may spy into the mainland. But we've really seen those tensions diffuse over the past few months, particularly towards the end of October, and then especially when Foreign Minister Kang stood up in the National Assembly and pledged that that system would not be expanded, that it wouldn't be part of the US defense umbrella, and that South Korea would not be entering into an alliance with Japan and the United States, a triangular alliance. Now, it probably wasn't going to do any of those things anyway, but clearly it was a concern in Beijing, and having that guarantee in place has gone, it appears to have gone a long way to sort of bridging those tensions. So no doubt she'll be discussing that. They'll be discussing trade or opening trade back up again because there was a lot of economic trade retaliation from China. That seems to be turning around. But of course, South Korea is hoping that door will open more. And then, as you mentioned, the very cause of why the THAAD was deployed, and that is the DPRK's nuclear and missile programs. And in this, Seoul and Beijing in many ways on the same page. Both are looking for a path to dialogue that doesn't necessarily hinge on a freeze in weapons testing. It can be unconditional, and both of them seeking quiet diplomacy. So, clearly, even though it is to pave the way for the president's visit, Kang will be plenty to discuss there with China's foreign minister while she's in Beijing.
Jack, we've had a period of relative calmness with Pyongyang. How does South Korea interpret about 2 months of silence from the DPRK?
Yeah, this is really unprecedented silence since Kim Jong-un came to power. We haven't had this long a period without a missile test or a nuclear bomb test. So everybody is asking the question, why are we having this period of peace? But analysts, politicians, defense officials really seem to be divided, with some saying because Joseph Yun, the top US nuclear envoy, he stated a couple of months ago if there were a few months without any testing, then that would be a good signal for the US that the DPRK was serious about negotiations. So many here saying, well, this could be that indication. That could be Pyongyang saying, yes, we do want to push forward with negotiation, but many people here saying it's due to technical problems. The top spy agency, the NIS, briefed the National Assembly recently saying that the DPRK has had a lot of trouble with the heat re-entry shield of its missiles. So it can build a nuclear warhead that can go on a missile, but when it comes in from the atmosphere, it burns up. They can't protect it with a heat shield. So according to the spy agency here, they've been working full throttle on that. Also, at the last big nuclear test, it's believed that the test site number 3 at Pyongyang collapsed. Now, 4 and 5 are believed to still be standing. There's been a lot of seismic aftershocks around the area, so they could be trying to stabilize it. So, it's really divided. The truth is nobody knows. But one thing is for sure, when Foreign Minister Kang is in Beijing, she'll definitely want to talk to Wang Yi about this, given that China's envoy has just returned from Pyongyang with, without doubt, the deepest diplomatic insight that anyone's been able to garner into what's going on inside the DPRK within the past few months.